Romantic comedies often follow predictable formulas, but Hitch, 2005, starring Will Smith as a self-proclaimed date doctor, offers more than just humor and romance. Beneath its lighthearted surface, the film explores deep psychological and philosophical themes about love, identity, and the limits of control. Through the experiences of Alex Hitchens, Albert Brenneman, and their romantic interests, Hitch dismantles the myth that love follows a strict formula and instead emphasizes the importance of authenticity, vulnerability, and self-acceptance. In today's world where dating apps and social media cultivate a highly curated version of attraction, Hitch serves as a timely reminder that true connection cannot be engineered. The film raises important questions about the extent to which people try to manage impressions in relationships, often at the cost of their genuine selves. Whether consciously or unconsciously, many individuals adhere to certain dating rules designed to create attraction. Rules that, as the film suggests, are not necessarily the key to long-lasting love. Instead, it argues that relationships thrive when people embrace who they truly are, rather than constructing a perfected version of themselves. This analysis will explore how the film's psychological and philosophical underpinnings offer a broader commentary on modern romance and self-acceptance, as well as its stylistic cinematic choices that reinforce its themes. One of the film's central themes is the contrast between impression management and authentic connection. Hitch operates under the belief that attraction can be controlled by strategically shaping one's image. His profession is rooted in social psychology, specifically Erving Goffman's theory of impression management, which suggests that individuals perform certain behaviors to influence how others perceive them. Throughout the movie, Hitch teaches his clients calculated dating techniques, from how to behave on a first date to when to make physical contact. However, the film ultimately challenges this notion by demonstrating that authenticity, not rehearsed actions, drives true attraction. A prime example of this occurs with Albert Brenneman, a socially awkward financial consultant who seeks Hitch's help to win over Allegra Cole, a wealthy and sophisticated woman. Initially, Albert's clumsy and unpolished demeanor seems like a disadvantage. However, as the film progresses, it becomes clear that his most endearing qualities, his awkward dancing, his excitement, and his genuine kindness, are precisely what make Allegra fall for him. This aligns with self-perception theory, which posits that people develop confidence and identity through their own behaviors. Albert gains self-assurance not by following Hitch's playbook, but by embracing who he truly is. His transformation underscores the psychological truth that confidence comes from within, not from external validation or strategic performance. Similarly, the film explores cognitive dissonance, a psychological phenomenon where individuals experience discomfort when their actions contradict their beliefs. Hitch, despite being an expert in romantic strategy, struggles in his own love life. His calculated approach fails miserably when he attempts to woo Sarah Mellis, a journalist investigating his profession. From an embarrassing food allergy incident to an ill-conceived trip to Ellis Island, where Sarah is unexpectedly confronted with a painful family history, Hitch's controlled methods unravel. This forces him to confront the reality that love cannot be engineered. His internal conflict, believing he can control attraction while simultaneously failing at his own, exemplifies cognitive dissonance, as his personal experiences contradict his professional philosophy. Beyond individual psychology, Hitch also highlights fundamental principles of attraction science. Research suggests that humor, emotional intelligence, and vulnerability often outweigh superficial traits in long-term attraction. The film reinforces this when Allegra confesses that she fell for Albert not because of any grand strategy, but because of his quirky, authentic nature. This challenges the societal notion that only traditionally attractive or suave individuals find love. Instead, Hitch affirms that confidence and emotional sincerity are far more important in building meaningful relationships. While Hitch delivers psychological insights into attraction, it also presents a deeper philosophical exploration of love as an act of authenticity and self-discovery. Through the lens of existentialism, particularly the works of Jean-Paul Sartre, the film suggests that people must define their own romantic journeys rather than conform to pre-existing scripts. Hitch operates under the illusion that love can be planned, but as his own experiences reveal, the most profound connections emerge from spontaneity and vulnerability. Sartre's existentialist philosophy asserts that individuals create their own meaning in life, and Hitch embodies this idea by showing that love is not about mastering a formula, but about embracing uncertainty and personal growth. Furthermore, Hitch aligns with pragmatism, particularly the ideas of William James and John Dewey, who emphasize learning through experience rather than rigid theories. Hitch starts as a character who believes in a structured, rule-based approach to relationships. However, his own romantic failures lead him to recognize that love is not something to be controlled, but something to be navigated and learned through trial and error. The film suggests that love, much like life, is about adapting to new experiences rather than following a predetermined path. Beyond its themes of love and self-discovery, Hitch employs various cinematic techniques to reinforce its messages about authenticity, identity, and human connection. Through direction, cinematography, editing, and character portrayal, the film effectively balances comedy and romance while delivering deeper insights into modern relationships. The film follows a dual narrative structure, intertwining Hitch's professional expertise with his personal romantic struggles. While he successfully guides Albert in navigating love, he ironically stumbles in his own romantic pursuits. This duality creates an engaging contrast, highlighting the difference between perceived control and real-life unpredictability in relationships. The classic romantic comedy structure is evident, as Hitch initially appears confident and in control, only to have his worldview disrupted by an unexpected romantic interest. Miscommunication and obstacles challenge his beliefs, leading to personal growth, and ultimately, the resolution affirms the power of honesty and love. His journey from an expert in romance to someone humbled by his own emotional vulnerability makes him a dynamic character. Meanwhile, Albert's transformation from self-doubt to confidence mirrors the film's theme of embracing authenticity. Willsmith's charismatic performance as Hitch plays a major role in the film's success. His natural comedic timing, physical expressiveness, and effortless charm make Hitch both likable and relatable. Kevin James as Albert provides an excellent comedic contrast. His awkward mannerisms and unfiltered sincerity bring balance to the smooth, controlled Hitch. Their chemistry and dynamic interplay create one of the most memorable mentor-student relationships in romantic comedy history. Eva Mendes as Sarah presents a strong, independent female lead who challenges Hitch's assumptions about love. Her believable chemistry with Willsmith adds authenticity to their romance, making their moments of vulnerability feel genuine rather than forced. The use of situational and physical comedy enhances the film's themes. Many comedic moments, such as Hitch's disastrous allergic reaction or Albert's dance lesson, serve as metaphors for love's unpredictability. Rather than portraying romance as smooth and perfect, the film highlights the humor in human awkwardness, reinforcing the idea that imperfections are what make relationships real. The way humor is interwoven with the narrative not only keeps the film entertaining, but also deepens its message that genuine connections stem from authenticity rather than perfection. Through its narrative structure, cinematography, editing, performances, and comedic timing, Hitch goes beyond being a standard romantic comedy. Every cinematic choice, from the way New York City is presented to the contrast between Hitch's control and Albert's vulnerability, reinforces the film's central message. Love cannot be manipulated or perfected. Instead, true connection comes from embracing one's authentic self. The film's seamless blend of humor and heartfelt moments ensures that its lessons about self-worth and love remain both entertaining and impactful. One of the most profound unspoken questions in Hitch is, am I enough? Both Hitch and Albert wrestle with this insecurity in different ways. Hitch, despite being confident and socially skilled, constructs a persona that masks his own doubts. Albert, in contrast, is openly insecure, believing that without Hitch's help he has no chance with Allegra. Their struggles reflect a universal reality. Many people fear that who they are is not enough, leading them to alter their behaviors, suppress their true personalities, or seek external validation. Hitch ultimately argues that self-worth does not come from strategic performance, external perception, or fabricated charm. It comes from authenticity and self-acceptance. Many people struggle with self-worth due to societal expectations, personal insecurities, and fear of rejection. In a world that constantly promotes curated perfection through media, social networks, and even dating culture, it's easy to feel that who we are naturally may not be enough. This pressure leads people to alter their personalities, suppress their true selves, or adopt an idealized image in hopes of gaining acceptance and validation. Fear of rejection is a significant reason people try to change themselves. Many worry that if they reveal their true selves, they will not be accepted or loved. This fear is evident in Albert, who believes Allegra could never like him unless he changes his personality, refines his behavior, and follows Hitch's carefully crafted dating techniques. His initial approach to dating reflects a widespread concern. Many people assume that if they do not meet an imagined standard, they will be rejected. Social comparison also contributes to self-doubt and the desire to be someone else. According to Leon Festinger's social comparison theory, people evaluate themselves based on comparisons with others. When we compare ourselves to idealized versions of others, celebrities, influencers, or even seemingly perfect people around us, we may feel inadequate. Hitch himself embodies the ideal man stereotype, exuding charm, confidence, and mastery over dating. However, his own love life contradicts this image, proving that even those who seem to have everything figured out may struggle internally. Cultural conditioning further reinforces the idea that people must meet specific standards to be successful, attractive, or lovable. From childhood, many are taught that success in relationships depends on fitting a particular mold, whether that means looking a certain way, behaving in a socially desirable manner, or achieving status. This leads to impression management, a psychological concept where individuals actively shape how others perceive them. Hitch builds his entire career around this idea, teaching men how to present a version of themselves that aligns with societal expectations. However, as the film unfolds, it becomes clear that love is not about meeting arbitrary standards, but about embracing authenticity. By highlighting these struggles, Hitch ultimately challenges the notion that people must change themselves to find love. The film reveals that true connection comes not from playing a role, but from being comfortable in one's own skin. Self-worth and personal validation are deeply tied to self-esteem, a concept explored in psychology as an individual's overall sense of value or self-respect. According to Rosenberg's self-esteem theory, people with high self-esteem tend to experience healthier relationships because they do not rely on external validation for their sense of self-worth. Albert initially has low self-esteem, believing he must become someone else to be desirable. However, as he grows more comfortable with himself, his confidence increases, independent of external approval. Hitch, on the other hand, appears confident but subtly struggles with self-worth. His career is based on controlling perceptions, which suggests an underlying fear that his true self may not be enough. A healthy self-esteem allows people to enter relationships without desperation for validation. When individuals feel secure in themselves, they are less likely to tolerate unhealthy relationships or lose their identity in seeking approval. According to Leon Festinger's social comparison theory, people determine their own worth by comparing themselves to others. This is heightened in modern society, where social media, advertising, and cultural expectations create idealized images of attractiveness, success, and romance. Albert believes that because he does not fit the mold of a traditionally suave man, he is unworthy of Allegra. Hitch has built a career out of helping men level up to perceived social standards of desirability. However, he later realizes that true connection is not about playing a role, but being real. Many people feel pressure to change themselves to meet societal standards. However, as Hitch demonstrates, true confidence comes not from comparison, but from self-acceptance. Many individuals experience imposter syndrome, a psychological phenomenon where they feel like they are not truly deserving of their success or relationships. This leads to self-doubt, insecurity, and a constant fear of being found out. Albert initially feels like an imposter, assuming that someone like Allegra could never genuinely love him. Hitch, despite coaching others, experiences his own moments of self-doubt when he realizes that his tactics do not work in real relationships. In relationships, imposter syndrome can lead people to sabotage their happiness because they feel undeserving of love. Overcoming this requires internal validation rather than external reassurance. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, explains how early childhood experiences influence adult relationships. People with secure attachment believe they are worthy of love, while those with insecure attachment often struggle with self-worth. Albert's insecurity reflects an anxious attachment style where he worries about being good enough and seeks external reassurance. Hitch presents himself as secure, but his inability to express vulnerability suggests an avoidant attachment style. He keeps emotions at a distance to protect himself. Allegra and Sarah both exhibit secure attachment, as they ultimately value emotional honesty over external performance. Understanding attachment styles can help people to develop healthier relationships by addressing self-worth issues at their core. Developing self-worth requires shifting from seeking validation externally to recognizing your own intrinsic value. Hitch provides key lessons on how to cultivate this mindset. Albert's biggest transformation comes when he stops worrying about whether he is good enough for Allegra and starts being himself. His humor, sincerity, and confidence win her over, not because he follows a strategy, but because he is authentic. Instead of chasing approval, focusing on what makes a person unique allows them to build confidence. People are drawn to genuine confidence, not forced perfection. Hitch spends most of the film coaching others while keeping his own emotions guarded. It is only when he opens up to Sarah and admits his failures that their relationship moves forward. Vulnerability deepens relationships because it creates trust and emotional intimacy. Allowing oneself to be seen for who they truly are is a powerful tool in building connections. Albert mistakenly believes that confidence is about looking a certain way or saying the right things. However, his most attractive moments are when he acts naturally and passionately, whether making Allegra laugh or taking a risk. True confidence is not about knowing you'll be accepted, but about being okay even if you're not. Hitch's biggest lesson is realizing that love cannot be controlled, predicted, or manipulated. He fails when he tries to script his own romance, but succeeds when he lets go of the act. Instead of trying to perfect every move, being present in relationships allows love to develop organically. Both Hitch and Albert worry that they do not fit a perfect mold of desirability. Yet, what attracts their partners is not their smoothness or strategy, it's their humanity. The moments when a person stumbles, laughs at themselves, or shows real emotions are what make them relatable and lovable. Imperfection is not a flaw, it's an asset. At its core, Hitch is a film that celebrates the unpredictable nature of love and the beauty of embracing imperfection. It dismantles the myth that attraction is about strategic moves and calculated charm, instead advocating for self-confidence, emotional sincerity, and the courage to be vulnerable. Through its psychological insights, philosophical depth, and cinematic storytelling, the film illustrates that love cannot be controlled, predicted, or manufactured. It must be lived, experienced, and felt. More than just a romantic comedy, Hitch delivers a powerful message about self-worth. True, deep, and lasting love only happens when people stop pretending and start believing that they are enough, just as they are. Many struggle with feelings of inadequacy, questioning whether they are smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough, or lovable enough. In search of external validation, they try to fix certain aspects of themselves, believing that only then will they be worthy of love. But Hitch reminds us that love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. At some point in life, everyone wrestles with the fear of, am I enough? But the truth is, the right people, the people meant to be in our lives, will love us not despite our imperfections, but because of them. Just as Albert wins Allegra's heart by being his true self, we too must have the courage to embrace who we are. In love, as in life, authenticity always triumphs over pretense. Hitch teaches us that we don't need to be someone else to be loved. We just need to be ourselves, and that is always enough. Watching Hitch made me reflect deeply on my own experiences with self-perception and relationships. I realized how often I, like so many others, have felt the pressure to present myself in the best possible light, whether in dating, friendships, or even professional and social settings. There were times when I believed that if I could just fit a certain mold, say the right things, or appear more polished, I could control how people perceived me. Like Hitch, I bought into the idea that following social norms or unspoken rules would somehow guarantee connection and acceptance. But this film reminded me of something I had to learn for myself. Real relationships are not built on perfection, but on authenticity. Looking back, the most meaningful relationships in my life, romantic or otherwise, weren't formed when I was trying to be someone I thought others would admire. They happened in the moments when I was simply myself, unfiltered and real. I remember times when I laughed at my own awkwardness, shared an honest fear, or admitted a mistake, expecting judgment but instead finding deeper connection. These were the moments when I felt truly seen, not for an image I was trying to uphold, but for who I actually was. I think we all, at some point, fear that our quirks, imperfections, and flaws might push people away. I know I've had that fear, wondering if being too much of something or not enough of something else would make me unworthy of love or acceptance. But Hitch reinforces what I've come to understand over time. It's not our perfection that makes us lovable, but our authenticity. The people who truly belong in our lives won't love us in spite of our imperfections. They'll love us because of them. This film was a powerful reminder that the most fulfilling relationships, whether romantic, friendships, or even our relationship with ourselves, come from embracing who we really are. We don't need to mold ourselves into an ideal version to be worthy of love. We already are.